0864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Ducks football.
Touchdown, Oregon. Byron Cardwell. That was quick.
We have to push ourselves to be the best that we want to be.
Pressure, steps up, goes down. Sack Brandon Dorless.
We think iron sharpens iron, right? You want to create that competitive environment. You have to do things that are hard.
Way down for Thornton. He's got it. He's going to score. What a stop by Oregon's Noah Sewell. Oh, what a throw. What a catch. Terence Ferguson.
I'm excited about the energy that our coaches bring and the energy our players bring day in and day out.
This is the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Today's broadcast is also brought to you by Country Financial Insurance, protect what matters, and by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi. Now let's go to the Country Financial Studios and talk Oregon Ducks football.
Welcome to another week. So good to be here and get ready for another big home game at Autzen Stadium. Jorgie, Jerry Allen here, and the head coach, Dan Lanning, joins us here right off the bat to get started on this football game coming up. But, Coach, I got to ask you right away, your first experience at Autzen Stadium with the kind of the haze and the smoke. I wasn't sure if we get enough fans in there to make some noise, but it got pretty loud.
Yeah, they were active. It made it a lot of fun. Awesome atmosphere. It was really fun to enjoy for our players and our staff.
I think we're going to have a big crowd this weekend.
That's what I hear.
You're going to see a full house.
We need them. I'm excited to see them make an impact on the game. I feel like, obviously that's one of the greatest things about Autzen, and seeing those fans pack the stands will make it special.
You had your first home game after a tough week on the road to open the season. You always look for improvement. You wanted better execution. You wanted to see better fundamentals. Did you see the kind of improvement you had hoped to see?
We certainly saw cited improvement and hope to see a lot more. We're not a finished product by any means, but we're trending in the right direction. Some guys did some good things.
Thought you guys really started the game sharp. I mean, defense comes out first thing, 3 and out, which is what you want. I mean, a holding penalty, but to me, even the holding penalty said something. Penetration in the backfield was going to blow up the play. They had to make a hold. Got the ball, went right down and scored. Did that 3 times in a row, then a turnover, score off of that. I was thrilled, actually, to see, and I'm sure you were too, to see the team coming out firing on all cylinders, offense, defense, for the most part, special teams too, right off the bat.
Yeah, there was great momentum early, and when momentum swings your direction, it's really hard to fight against.
Yeah.
Your offense seemed to really be in a rhythm. I mean, in all phases of it, the running game, your receivers, your quarterbacks. I thought all 3 of them really did well. Kind of, how do you grade your quarterback? Bo Nix 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they all did well. You said it. They did a good job of operating, within the system. We didn't put the ball in jeopardy, which is big. Probably had just a couple throws that we could see ourselves having back. But even more than that, just making run checks, being able to operate within the system was really impressive.
Decision-making. I mean, I look at the combined quarterbacks altogether, 34-41, which is pretty good. And again, there was a ball or 2 off that, like with Terence Ferguson, kind of helped bail out Bo Nix on that one, but made the play, frankly. But the rest of them, just good decisions, balls on the money, not inaccurate from the standpoint of what they had. They took what they had. Sometimes ad-lib, didn't have to a whole lot, but when they did, again, ball in people's hands to make plays.
Absolutely. We look for opportunities to create some easy completions for our guys so they can build up as the game goes, and I thought every one of those guys did a good job, handling that.
Sometimes you look at a receiver or two and you hear the go-to guy. Some people like that. Some quarterbacks want that. Some coaches do, some don't. You've got so many weapons on the offensive side. Receivers, 14 different receivers caught a pass in that ball game. 2 more were targeted. I mean, you have a lot of weapons. Do you like that go-to guy, or do you think you're more dangerous if you have a lot of those guys?
Yeah, I like it if we have a bunch of go-to guys, right? We want to be able to distribute the ball, really to wherever we have, a benefit or an advantage. Sometimes that's going to be based on personnel, and we have a better matchup. Sometimes that's going to be based on numbers and what the defense is taking away. I thought, obviously, being able to get the ball to 14 or 15 different people throughout the game, that's a good way to be able to distribute. We had a couple guys that had, high performances, and we'll see if defense continues to play a certain ways. That probably can happen again.
Yeah, I mean, if you get like Troy Franklin, he had a tremendous game. But if your opposition realizes that, then they realize that, and then you want that other go-to guy. So I mean, it's important to develop more than one.
That's right. You got to have you have to be able to distribute the ball and make it to where a defense can't take away one thing and limit your ability to have success.
Coach, how do you create large explosion plays? And I guess I'm looking 30-plus versus 20-plus type of situation. Is it a matter of what the defense gives you? Is it maybe a block or two downfield that takes place that springs a player? What is it that creates that for you?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's certainly been a big emphasis for us this week. How we play without the ball in your hands. I think a lot of times those explosive plays come down the field because somebody took the extra effort to block a little bit harder, a little bit longer. The way you play when the ball's not in your corner, when it's on the other side of the field, just that extra effort to go make a block or make an impact is a big piece of that. And then you have to be able to distribute the ball down the field at times. And we didn't have to do that this past Saturday, but there will be times that we have to throw the ball down the field and have success moving forward. So it's something we have to do in the future.
As much as a defender following a play and making a touchdown, right? I mean, maybe shouldn't have been there from the standpoint of the interception that Addison made, fumbles the ball into the end zone, and a trailer that follows the play jumps on the ball for the touchdown. I mean, it's the same concept, right?
No doubt. Yeah. Absolutely. That extra effort led to points,
Your tight end group, Terence Ferguson, again, one of those guys that looks like he's developing into somebody that Bo Nix or whoever's a quarterback kind of trust. But Maliki, Patrick, you've got a group of guys in there. But when we look at, I think fans look at, throw the ball to the tight end. The tight end can make catches. But you just talked about the blocking aspect of that. And the tight ends are really critical in those run games on the outside, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, huge. And if we want to create, big runs, those guys have to be a big part of it. And, to be a complete tight end, you can't just catch the ball, right? You have to be dynamic in the C area. You have to be able to block in space, and really it's a position that you have to know what your job is. You have to know a lot more than everybody else on the field, and those guys do a good job of that.
We've had a chance to talk about a lot of skill guys. Obviously, we talk about the quarterbacks, running backs, the receivers, tight ends. Offensive line, 2 consecutive weeks, no sacks. A little bit of penetration here and there in the backfield, maybe tackle for loss, but at the same time, no sacks on the quarterbacks, able to make a lot of plays. They played pretty well again without Ryan Walk in the lineup.
Yeah, got a chance to see some other guys step up. Obviously got a lot of people that got a chance to play up front, which is good for us. Have to continue to develop. I think our best game's still ahead of us. We got more that we can do, and areas that we can improve, but those guys, perform well on Saturday.
Yeah, but depth is sort of what you're talking about. And are you seeing the kind of depth that you need now, or are you still a few weeks away from that?
Time will tell, right? I think it's really important in your program that you have guys in week 1 that grow into guys into week 10, in week 12. And we want to keep developing our roster. I hope nobody on our roster is as good as they can be, because it means we've tapped them out. I think everybody has room for growth. So do we have some depth? Yeah, but you never know where you'll need it too. And as the season goes on, sometimes you end up leaning on positions and you wish you had more.
Offensively, having running backs that can not only run it but catch it is really important for your offense, isn't it? I mean, I look at the biggest play in the game, which is Dollars.
Yeah.
On a little, I don't want to say a dump pass, but it looks like there's some pressure off the corner. Bo gets it out to him. Off he goes with a block or 2 downfield. The importance of those guys being able to be dual-purpose type of players and beyond that is really important for Coach Dillingham, and you in the offense, isn't it?
Yeah, the more you can do for our program, the more we can use you. And those guys have proven, to do a good job catching the ball out of the backfield, which creates really big matchup issues for linebackers and whoever might be covering them. So we want to continue to utilize that in the future.
Sometimes teams will have a bell cow running back. He's the guy, and he's going to carry the ball 28, 35 times. You've got a group of running backs that all present different challenges for defenses. Is that how you use those guys? Because they're all different.
Yeah, I mean, the more you can do, the better, right? And we have a group of guys that can do a lot of things. And it means you get to be fresh. It means you get to lean on guys. If somebody hits a hot streak, you can let them roll for a little bit. But I think that variety is going to allow us to be really solid throughout the season.
It's funny, Jerry, you and I looked at it after the game, and as a as head coach and as a defensive-minded coach, to have 5 players tie for leading tacklers in the game with 3 tackles apiece. I have down 29 separate players had a tackle or assisted in a tackle, including Cam Lewis, which you really don't want to have happen.
Right.
But to see that stat line just shocked us after the game. We thought the stats were wrong. We kept going back to the stats people to bring us updates because it showed 5 guys with 3 tackles and everybody else had 2 or 1. I've never seen anything like that before. And yet, again, a lot of guys in the game making plays, didn't have to rely on any one.
Yeah, ultimately we knew this game was going to be about tackling better, right? And that's something we wanted to have sided improvement, and I think you see it. But if the ball's in your territory, you better finish, by tackling the ball carrier.
Yeah, you had a lot of guys who finished on Saturday. It was fun to watch that, and especially on that postgame, looking at all the guys who were involved in it. No 1 or 2 guys. It was a team effort defensively, which is cool. Our Pepsi Coaches interview brought to you by Pepsi and locally on Bigfoot Beverages, Go Ducks, Drink Pepsi. We're going to get a quick break in here. We'll come back more from the coach. All of it from our Country Financial Studio. It's a Wednesday night Coaches Show. Looking forward to this night here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
You're listening to the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, and thanks for being here. Join us on a Wednesday night Coaches Show brought to you by Pepsi and locally on Bigfoot Beverages. Head coach Dan Lanning with us following just a tremendous ball game on Saturday against Eastern Washington, the Eagles. Big win coming up at BYU. Before we jump into BYU, we didn't talk about special teams very much at all yet. One maybe blown kickoff coverage, and that's from a non-coach's point of view, but
they're not supposed to go back that far. Yeah, no, you're right. Good eye. Well done. The ball was it wasn't placed in the proper location, and then our coverage unit didn't finish the way we wanted to fit. You fit special teams very similar to how you'd fit a run play, right? And we didn't have the overlap we need to be able to get the ball down. And when it's not put where you think it's going to be, it makes guys change their run lanes a little bit. And then the tag on a penalty at the end of that was not the play we want. So somewhere certainly we can grow.
I'm not sure that enough people know that on the kickoff, the ball is actually trying to be placed by in this point, the kickoff man. It's not just boot it as hard as you can.
No, you have certain distributions. You have certain lanes that you'll carry, and you're trying to put the ball in a certain location. If you think about it, football field being over 53 yards wide, right? Do you want to cover the entire 53 yards, or would you rather pin it in a certain location and reduce your coverage lanes? So that's the thought process. But when it doesn't go always where you're anticipating it being, then you got to do a little bit of work. And we missed a target there, and then we didn't do a great job with our coverage unit. We got to be able to adjust on the fly there.
It's like a bad golf shot. Aiming it this way
right.
and went that way.
Yeah, you're trying to play it this way to have the angle. It's amazing how, you talk about special teams. Jerry, you just mentioning that. We had a chance to watch that game, that BYU-Baylor game, and how, holy cow, special teams is important towards the end of that game. I mean, neither team, from a special team standpoint, that in a game like this with a really good team like BYU, that can be all the difference in the world, can it?
Winning and losing football games is a really small margin, and if you can make special teams a priority, obviously that's a place where you can create a benefit and have a chance to win games because of it.
All right, let's look ahead a little bit. We look back. I guess talk about this week following a game like that when it's such a lopsided score and most things appear to go well for your team. How do you rein them in? I mean, you talk about too high and being too low, but how do you keep them focused on, okay, guys, that's not us yet?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to the principles we've kind of carried all year of what do we want to continue to get better at. Our best is still ahead of us. Last week our competition was Oregon, and not a lot's changed there. It's still our competition. We got to be the best version of us, and that means going to figure out stuff that we can get better at and understanding what we put on film. Just because a big play didn't show up necessarily in the game this past week against us or for us, that doesn't mean we don't have to prepare for what could have shown up. And that's the purpose for our players and our coaches right now.
You're still focusing on you, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's always going to be about us. I mean, BYU's a really talented team. What we have to do is make sure we're the best version of us.
Is there an average number of hours that you and your staff look at film after a game? I mean, sometimes I wonder if it's like 8 to 10 hours every day you're glued to that video.
You watch a lot of film. Yeah, you watch a lot of film. I don't know the average number. I've never set a timer for it, but you evaluate a lot.
Every play, right?
Yeah, every play. You watch every play. You grade every play, assess, and have a write-up just about on every play. And then you got to be able to carry that forward, moving forward with the next opponent.
Teaching moments.
I remember doing that from a 9mm reel in the early 80s as a graduate assistant coach, going through, the reels, and you'd cut it and slice it.
A little different now.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You can watch it on your phone now.
Yeah. Well, you can?
Oh, yeah, you can watch film just about anywhere now. So it's changed a little bit.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah, again, you mentioned it, Coach, just from a standpoint of, and it's funny, I look back at last week's questions and what were asked of you, and again, going down from a standpoint about, sneak peek at BYU, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but just, again, the inner focus that you have to have, and scoring 70 is great, and holding the team to 14 points is great, and to at least get that good taste in your mouth. But you still got the next week. You got to put that behind you, and it is tough, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you're a process-oriented organization and team, if you focus really on the process and not necessarily always the result, I think you're always going to find moments of growth. And certainly, we scored a lot of points. We won a football game, but that was one game. The result was really because of the process. It wasn't just that game. So that's still our intention. That's still our focus.
Practice makes perfect, and you got to go right back.
Perfect
to practice.
makes perfect.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect practice. BYU in general, what kind of challenges do they present coming in?
These guys play with their hair on fire. They're relentless. Really in all phases of the game. Just watch their kickoff unit. You're going to see them run all the way through the end zone. That's something that's unique. It's some of the same traits that we want to carry in our program, but they run to the ball on defense. They don't give up a lot of explosives. And then on offense, they create a lot of explosive by moving the ball down the field. They run gadget plays and tricks. They've got a lot of variety, and they have a quarterback that can operate. So they certainly are a challenging team, and they have a lot of talent. So it'll be a fun time for our team.
It's 3 weeks in a row that you played a quarterback that moves pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, talking to him moved pretty well, kept some plays alive, made some plays in the win this last weekend. Obviously, the week before was Stetson Bennett. He was a handful from a standpoint. And so was Jaron Hall, isn't he?
Yeah. He's a great player. Throws the ball really well. Keeps his eyes downfield. I think he runs more and moves more to throw, not necessarily to run. But it does a really good job with that.
And this is a veteran ball club, and when I say veteran, there's some guys that are more mature, older guys on this. How is that for young guys? And your guys aren't all that young. There's not that big of an age difference, but there's some young men playing against some older men in this football.
Yeah, it's not quite rec league basketball, but yeah, it's different. There's I'll be honest. So it's not like we look at anybody's birth certificate when we go out there to play. We could care less, but. They're mature. They've got some experience. I think the biggest thing, they return 9 starters on defense and 6 on offense. When you have that much returning players, you're going to have some success. You're going to be a good team.
A lot of experience coming back.
A lot of experience.
Well, I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah. It's amazing as an independent with the amount of big games they play. I mean, this place is going to be loud. There's no doubt about it. Their place was loud last week for Baylor, so they're used to it. They're going to see Arkansas this year. They're going to see Oregon this year. They're going to see Notre Dame this year. They're going to see Pac-12 schools like they did last year. So BYU is used to playing in games like this, so is Oregon. That's what makes it so intriguing. 2 quality teams coming together, and as a coach, you got to love that and the challenge for your team.
Yeah, you love playing great teams, and this certainly is a great team. It's going to be a fun environment. I'm really excited to see what kind of impact our fans make, and these are the kind of games you come to Oregon for. So I think our players are going to have a lot of fun. I'm certainly ready to get out there myself.
All right, we'll let you go do that. You still got a couple of days to work at. Let's see, Thursday, Friday, yes. So I know you're not ready yet.
Hey, it's not in the barn.
Not in the barn yet.
Not in the
Coach,
barn.
Again, thanks for your time. I appreciate every minute of it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Head Coach Dan Lanning. It is our Pepsi Coaches Show interview brought to you by Pepsi, locally owned Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi. When we come back, we're going to talk to Joey. Who we got on tonight, Joey? Joey's going to be talking to somebody. Right now he's talking to himself, so we'll find out. All right, we'll find out when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
The ins and outs of all things Ducks. This is Oregon football from Learfield.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside our Country Financial Studios. Joey Mack joins us. I'm Jerry Allen. Joey's going to be on. Casey Rogers.
Casey Rogers.
Looking forward to that.
Journalism major.
Oh, so you'll never talk football. You'll talk everything else.
A graduate in a master's program here at Oregon. Yeah.
Wow.
So transfer student, and we talked with him on the post-game show. It was tremendous.
Yes.
And I was like, Casey, you want to put that journalism degree to use in real time? And what does he do? He says, well, yeah, I'd love to come up and see the studio before I come on with you guys. So he got a tour today.
So if the studio didn't look good, he was maybe not going to
I mean, you said it, not him or me.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
But, yeah, so
He's
Casey
got high
Rogers
standards.
is
That's awesome.
going to be
That's
on.
I'm looking forward to hearing from the young man. He's already got the degree, journalism degree.
Yes.
So he could have a job right now.
Academic, all Big Ten, 3 years before transferring to Oregon.
That's impressive.
So
That's
we'll talk with
impressive.
him coming up.
That's the student athlete that we're always talking about. 12:35 kickoff this weekend, so we're on the air at 10:30 with the pregame show. And BYU, we talked with Coach Lanning about the game last week, and it was what it was. It was a very lopsided, but I thought a very well executed and played game by Oregon, regardless of who they were playing.
A game to grow with. And I thought that was, at least listening to you guys right now, I thought that was the message from Coach Lanning. I mean, it's always going to be about Oregon and how can Oregon improve. And I think this is a tremendous opportunity. I mean, you know, guys, I think about, like, when you're the marquee game, it's easy to start breaking down the matchups of, like, which position group has the advantage, right? We all kind of play that game in our heads, especially in a top 25 game like this. But what I love from what Coach Lanning's messaging is, it's always very simple, it's always very to the point, and it's Oregon has the opportunity to get better. And, well, this is a tremendous weekend for that.
Yeah, he talks a lot about the process, which is practice. It's process of doing everything you need to do and do it the right way perfectly so that when you get to the game, the game's the easier part of it. I think some of the guys said the game against Georgia was harder than practices, and they wanted to make practice the next week harder than the game.
Is this our practice for a game broadcast?
Is this harder? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
You lost me.
Casey Rogers is here. I'm out.
Okay, that's why you did. Casey Rogers, who will be taking over one of our jobs here as soon as football season ends. We just don't know who he's going to replace. He's going to join Joy coming up next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has been the credit union serving the University of Oregon community. With remarkable checking, My OCCU mobile banking, and nationwide ATM access. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU, where you'll find fewer fees, higher savings rates, and lower rates on loans. And lots of fellow duck fans. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/remarkable.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
More Jerry, Jorgie, and Joey after this timeout. You're listening to the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners from injury and death. Staying alert and focused can keep you safe. Do it safe. Do it right. Whether buckling a seatbelt or securing equipment, these quick safety measures can prevent injuries and fatalities. Take time. Save lives. For more resources, visit MSHA.gov.
Farming is dangerous. There's dangers all around us.
We go through safety training and try and do these things to make sure accidents don't happen.
You don't want to hit a gas pipe because that's your life. The other part of it is if you hit certain things, you're liable for it.
Farm Safe 811 starts with you. Always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked.
Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble.
For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, it is the Toyota Coaches Show, and now I'm just going to get out of the way, and Casey Rogers is here, ladies and gentlemen. So the reason I say that, I already said before you came in that you're a journalism graduate, and that's why we're just going to hand the show to you, and you're going to take it from here. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thanks for the keys. Let's roll.
What kind of car do you think it is?
It's a big old Silverado.
I like that.
Right, big off-road tires and everything.
I'll take it. The big rig. I'll take it. So one thing that I often ask, and it's become kind of a tradition on the show, if I haven't had you in the studio before, and I do this for everybody, not just student athletes, you have to tell us your 2-minute life story.
2-minute life story.
2-minute life story. I will time you.
I could do it in 1.
I need it in 2 though because it's like
the script.
Yeah. So
gotcha.
And we have a leaderboard.
Okay.
Closest anybody's ever come is 1:59.56 seconds. I dare you to do better.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Challenge accepted.
2-minute life story. Go.
Let's roll. All right. So originally was born in Columbus, Ohio, University Hospital on the Ohio State University campus. My father was a lacrosse coach at a school called Ohio Wesleyan University, and my mom was actually working in the hospital at the time. So it was weird that I was born. They say I was born a Buckeye, but I don't really believe it. And then, growing up, my dad was a coach, the coaching world. He ended up getting a job in a small city called Cortland, New York, more of a town. That's where I moved at the age of around 3. Grew up there until about 8 or 9, and then around 5th grade age, I moved up to Syracuse, New York, where my dad took the job as a defensive coordinator for the men's lacrosse team at Syracuse University, and that's kind of where I went through high school. I played all sports, any sport you can imagine, from football to hockey to lacrosse to anything I can get my hands on, really. That's kind of the household I grew up in, was just a bunch of athletes. My mom played soccer in college. My dad was a 3-sport college athlete, won a national championship as a wrestler. And then, just kind of sports surrounded my life. I grew up in a locker room at Syracuse University in the men's lacrosse locker room there. My dad lived on campus, so he's not going to be happy, but he can't cook, so the way he fed me was I would go up to the dining hall. I had my own meal card, but as a high school kid, I loved it. That's kind of where I got my escape from the rest of the world. Was I pretend I was a college athlete, and I got to work out in their facilities. Being a coach's kid, and just being around those caliber of athletes kind of developed who I am today, I think. After that, graduated high school. Actually, I got to go back a little bit. My freshman year of high school at West Hill High School in Syracuse, I actually committed to play lacrosse for my dad at Syracuse University. Kind of something I thought I was going to do my whole life. Everyone really expected it. His dad coaches there. He's going to go play for him.
Yeah.
And I grew up wearing a Syracuse jersey everywhere I went, decked out in orange and blue. And so I committed to him and went my whole high school career as a lacrosse commit, even though I played 3 sports, football, lacrosse, and hockey. Got to my senior year and kind of had a change of heart. It kind of bothered me after my senior year of football that I was never going to be able to play football again.
Yeah.
And, I thought when I thought about it, I was like, lacrosse, you could play pickup lacrosse after college anytime you want. You can't really play pickup football, especially tackle football, and that's the only kind of football I like. So had change of heart, decided to change paths there, and ended up going to a prep school in Connecticut where I was able to play football, lacrosse, and hockey all over again for a whole nother year as a post-grad. That's kind of where my recruitment kind of exploded, and I ended up picking Nebraska, University of Nebraska, spent 4 great years there, and then decided to come to Oregon and take my talents here.
255.86.
Oh my gosh, I was way over.
Hey, that was a complete life story. That in the studio, one of the best we've ever had. Right? Yeah, that was well done.
255. I got to trim that down.
Hey, I mean,
what would I take out though?
That's a great question. It is your story.
I would take anything out.
Right? I mean, it's a hard thing to do.
See, I went 5 years of high school, and I'm going to go 6 years of college, so I'm allowed 55 extra seconds.
Fair. Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right. So we joke about the 2-minute life story, but the reason I asked that question is I think it's so interesting. A lot of people are like, man, I hate talking about myself. But then it's actually one of the easiest things to do, right?
No doubt.
To just kind of tell your story. And what I hear a lot there is that you're really proud of the family that you came from.
Absolutely, yeah. I think just my whole life story in general, I had to do a lot of extra stuff that a lot of people didn't do just to get where I am today. And I know that's kind of just a pride thing with me, is I felt like I always had to do a little bit extra to get what I wanted. And with that extra came a lot harder work, a lot more, pain in the weight room, or not necessarily pain, but growth. And just like I said, an extra year of high school, a lot of kids don't want to do that. It was no fun seeing all my friends in college, and I'm still at a prep school, in a dorm on campus, not allowed to leave. Overall, that was probably the best experience of my life, was going to that prep school. But at the time, it was hard, and it was I knew that where I was going to be worth it, but as a young kid, you just see, you see all social media, and you want to experience that, and I just kind of had to put that on pause for a year. But like you said, I'm very prideful when it comes to my family and where I grew up, and not just my sport history, but my father's and my sisters and my mom's. Every one of us were college athletes, and I like to just carry that torch as far as I can go.
So not an only child.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
Who's the best athlete in the family?
Ooh, you're going to cause some trouble here. I'm going to get a phone call after this one. So my sister likes to say she is, I'll give her this. She naturally can swing a golf club better than I can.
Sure.
But she can have golf. In the business world, I guess you want to be good at golf, but
can confirm.
I'll let her take golf. She was a Division I lacrosse player at Syracuse. She kind of got bit by the injury bug a little bit throughout her career, but what she's best known for, her name's Paige. What she's best known for, it wasn't like more of the athlete she was, but more of the teammate she was. I think if you ask any one of her teammates, she was probably the most enjoyable person to be around, and it's still like that today. And I think even though she wasn't on the field that much, she really made an impact on that program. So that's why I was really proud of her, and I try to do that here as well. If I'm not going to make a difference on the field, might as well try to make one off the field. And so I try to do what she did a little bit, and be a good teammate, and yeah, it's going good so far.
I love that. Casey Rogers with us. So I said this before you sat down. 3-time academic All Big Ten, and probably could have been more than that by the time you were done. That's just what we have on your bio.
Yeah.
Academics are something that you took really seriously. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I think it's always been something my parents have infused in my brain. As you can't go anywhere without academics. And it goes back to being in a college locker room. I've seen really good athletes lose their career because they couldn't get through school.
Sure.
And it goes just, and I've seen a lot of that, not just with academics, but with either drugs or something that they got kicked off the team for. So I was exposed to that type of stuff at a pretty young age, and I was able to see what could ruin a career, and it scared me. So I really kind of took all that in and said, I'm not going to be that guy when I get to that level. And but my parents always infused in my head that academics will take you anywhere you want to go, and knowledge is power. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm trying to get my master's degree from the University of Oregon.
That's
so
right.
I'll be excited to walk that stage when I get it.
So what's the master's degree you made?
It'll be prevention science, so a master's of education. Changing the path a little bit from journalism to education, but I think that's all right.
Hey, wide breadth.
No doubt.
Wide breadth. You just look at the people that are here in this studio right now. I'll tell you that there is a wide range, and we all work in a media, journalism type industry, but there's a wide range. Scott Phillips is a cinema studies major, University of Oregon graduate.
No doubt.
So, hey, wide breadth. Why'd you choose Oregon? What was it about the Ducks?
There was a lot of really intriguing things when it came to picking the school I wanted to go to while I was in the transfer portal. The whole process of picking the school was completely different from when I was in high school.
No kidding.
Being already graduated, being in a college football program already for 4 years, you kind of know the ins and outs a little bit of college football, and you kind of know you know what you want to look for in a school. And then you know what you want within a football program after being in college football that long. And I think the biggest thing that stood out to me was with the connections I already had here with Coach Teote, playing for him 3 years at Nebraska. He's like a father figure to me. Then Coach Tony Washington, and then Coach Cam too.
Yeah.
All those guys came from Nebraska, and then not to mention Jordan was already on his way here too. So
right.
I had four guys who I was familiar with, who I knew that I wouldn't have to meet a whole new D-line coach. I wouldn't have to, he knows what he's getting out of me. He knows what to expect, and I know what to get out of him. And the cool thing was I came in and we were able to speak the same language. There were obviously relearning schemes and stuff like that, and Coach Tosh Lapoi's defense, but it was more of a, kind of just learn the new words because a lot of it translated over to Nebraska's defense, just different words. So that was kind of the hardest part was, what does this mean in this defense, and now what's it mean? And that was the thing that we worked was when I committed. The next few weeks and months after that was just kind of cracking down on that. But overall, I felt like when I came on my visit, it was very family oriented. when the recruiting a lot of schools, when they recruit you, they just kind of recruit you. They don't recruit your whole family. And I think that was one thing that Oregon did, was they recruited my family. I have a girlfriend. I've been dating her for 6 years, and you know, every time I answered the phone, oh, is Maya there? Where's Maya? Coach Lanning would talk to Maya. Coach Teote would talk to Maya. Sometimes I felt like they wanted to talk to Maya more than me, but that's okay, because it's not just me they were getting Maya and I. We both moved here with our 2 dogs, so it was a big move. It wasn't an easy choice, but it wasn't easy. I take that back. It was a very easy choice, but it wasn't an easy process. Yeah. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm couldn't have asked for an easier transition, and you know, the first 2 games have been so much fun. So it's been an awesome process.
Well, this is awesome. We're glad you chose Oregon. First of all.
Yeah, me too.
Second of all, we got to get a timeout. When we come back, I'm going to tell you what Coach Lanning told me about you when I told him that you were going to be on the show.
Sounds good.
I promise I won't leave you hanging completely. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Ready to get back in the game? Great news. The movement experts at Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists can help you find relief and results and keep you off the sidelines. With 16 convenient locations across Oregon and Southwest Washington. Contact Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists today at proactivepts.com to see a physical therapist. Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists, a proud partner of Oregon Athletics and trusted choice for keeping Duck fans in the game.
You're listening to the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Casey Rogers is our guest. I'm Joey Mack. Casey, I have always thought that there are so many student athletes that could just take this seat. We always kind of make that joke, but I'm telling you right now, I'm going to ask you to take this seat one of these days. So before I tell you what Coach Lanning had to say about you, because I always ask Coach, right? Like, hey, we're going to have this student athlete on, anything that I should know. I need you to do something for me.
All right, what is it?
What is a question that you wish someone like me asked you and other players in an interview? You guys get a lot of the same questions. We know it. We try to be unique, so I'm going to try to get more unique. What should we ask you guys more?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times you get so many questions about sports.
Yeah.
So I think something, what are you most proud of outside of sports would be cool.
Okay, I like that. What are you most proud of outside of sports?
I'm going to say my dogs.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
I got my first dog in college. I think the only time I really went against, well, my mom might disagree, but I think the only time I really went against her word was she said, don't get a dog in college. Don't get a dog in college. And, I had the perfect opportunity to get my first dog, and she was free. So I was like, I don't have to pay for a dog.
Sure,
and,
helps.
And it just was like the story, like everything matched up. Like, I wasn't going to go out of my way to get a dog, but if one ended up in my lap, I was going to definitely take it, and it kind of completely happened like that. So, and really, it's kind of was my first big-time responsibility as a dog. So, And now that I had one for a while, and then I kind of went against my mom's word and got another one. So,
but it's worked out.
But it's definitely worked out. I'm so proud of not just of the dogs, but just how I've taken care of them and really taken care of that responsibility. It's something that put my mind to outside of football. So it's been really fun.
So you have no idea how perfect this is for what Coach Lanning said about you.
I bet it's something about dogs.
So no, Coach was like, hey, he's got a longtime girlfriend. He's really like a 35-year-old is what he seems like. That's what he said about you.
Yeah.
In a complimentary way. I wanted that to be clear.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think
you're an
when
old
I first
soul.
got to Oregon, I think a lot of guys thought I was a coach. Just because I looked that age.
Okay.
And when they saw me in the workouts for the first time, they were like, "Why are you working out with us, Coach?" And I was like, I'm not a coach. I'm actually just a grad transfer. But yeah, no. I mean, I've been in college a while.
Yeah.
Probably now longer than most kids. And then with COVID, and I have the opportunity to be even longer than most kids. So
you're just experienced.
Yeah, just have a lot of experience.
Yeah, experienced. You're a veteran. You know.
Yeah.
There's ways to put it that it sounds good.
No doubt. Yeah. So it's been I think something popped up on my phone where I was like, my first middle school football game was 10 years ago, and I almost screamed. I was like, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I get that.
I was like, but yeah, no, it's been a heck of a journey.
I'm almost 10 years away from when I graduated from Oregon, and I'm not looking forward to.
It's scary
hitting that.
It's not cool.
It's something
like,
with that 10
cool,
years. Yeah, I get it.
That's not even graduation. That was middle school. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when I see high school graduation was 10 years ago.
Do me a favor. Let me know how it feels for you when you hit there.
You'll be the first one I call.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, you said earlier that Coach Tuioti was like a father figure to you.
Absolutely.
Tell fans a little bit about Coach Tuioti. What's he like?
Coach T, yeah, he's kind of like we got there's coaches that are fire and there's coaches that are ice, and he's kind of the perfect in between. He's gonna let you know when you need to do better, but he's also gonna put his arm around you when you need it. And not just that, he's a mentor. He gives a lot of life lessons. And for me, the reason why I think I like him and I click so well with him is just the way he teaches the game. He breaks things down. He breaks down drills so you can see why you're doing this drill and how it's going to help you in the game. Where a lot of coaches kind of just say something once and expect you to understand. He kind of takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
He shows on. He doesn't just show a drill, or he doesn't just give an example and say, "Oh, this is why we're going to do it." He actually shows you in a game how this, like an NFL guy, for example, he's going to show in a game the NFL guy doing it, and then he's going to show you the drill, and he's going to show that this is exactly the same. So we do a lot of studies like that in the D-line room with NFL guys and different colleges, because everyone can learn from anyone. So just as a young football player, when he first came into the room at Nebraska, I needed a coach like him to be able to develop.
That's cool.
And it was just a perfect coach for me. And I think when he left Nebraska, a piece of me was just like I was kind of panicked, because I was like, he's kind of everything I want in a coach. And not to say that the coach at Nebraska who took his spot was not for me. He was a great coach too. I just felt I felt very comfortable with Coach Tuioti's coaching style, and when I decided to go into the portal and when he reached out to me, that's kind of what made that decision easy. Was this is a coach I know I can play for, a coach I look up intensely, and I'm just happy that I'll be able to continue my college career with him.
That's awesome. I wish that we had another full half hour with you, but I got to let you go. Casey Rogers, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, best of luck this weekend.
Appreciate
best of luck the entire season. Best of luck your entire career. Best of luck with the dogs. Best of luck with everything, all right?
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll be calling you 10 years from now.
I like that.
I don't even know 10 years.
Good.
Probably 5 years from now.
We'll see. Maybe, who knows? Maybe you're hosting the show next week.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Let me know.
We'll find out.
Got to put that degree to use.
That's right. Hey, when we come back, Game Keys, Jerry and Jorgie back with us. We're wrapping up the show for the week after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
I'm just still flat amazed at what I just saw.
Do you guys know the phrase Wally pipped? Like, you've been Wally pipped?
Yes. He was good.
I'm telling you guys.
No.
We've said it about some athletes in the past, some student athletes that are going to be great broadcasters, media personalities, or whatever they want to do in their field. It's just that's the one we connect with because that's somehow we got hired to do this once upon a time. I still don't know why you offered me the job when you did. Anyway, the point being,
I was desperate.
The point being that if we ever need a fill-in and Casey's like, I got you, we will be Wally pipped.
It's
going to happen.
And we don't get to talk to a lot of the athletes, not just football players, but basketball players, all the sports. But every one we get a chance to interview are spectacular. Yeah. Student athletes, not just football players or basketball or volleyball, whatever. They're just tremendous people. And I don't think that fans have an appreciation for the majority of athletes who are like Casey.
I think in football also, because there's so much padding and there's
the helmet,
the massive helmet.
Yeah.
You don't really see their faces.
They're people
as often, right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a real thing. I've read others say that, that work in our industry that like they're sort of dehumanized because you don't see their face as often. Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. Honestly, this is the favorate part of my job. Is doing those interviews every week. Yeah.
I can imagine.
All right, BYU coming up Saturday. Again, a 12:35 kick. We'll go on at 10:30. Terry Johns will have the pregame for you. We'll join him. But keys to the game, guys. I guess we talk about BYU's. They played 5 Pac-12 teams last year and they beat every one of them.
Yeah,
should tell you something.
They're 7-1 in their last 8 Pac-12 matchups. Yeah, I don't know. I love these games though.
Oh, I do too.
Top 25. It's a big 12:30 kick. Awesome for fans. Wear black, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this. I mentioned it on Duck Insider today. So Nick Reed, former Duck, defensive lineman, Oregon Athletic Hall of Famer, was inducted in 2020. So, Jerry, you and I are emceeing the Hall of Fame induction for this year's class on Friday. Nick Reed's going to be there because he wasn't able to make it when we did it last year to recognize the 2020 class. Yeah. Well, guys, he's going to do the flyover on Saturday.
On Saturday, yeah.
He himself is going to do the flyover on Saturday.
He will be in
You mean
aircraft.
He's actually flying the aircraft?
That's my understanding, yes.
Not coordinating the Rose Bowl flyover.
So at the Rose Bowl, he coordinated it. Yeah, my understanding is he's going to do the flyover. So cool. So wait, I got to double check my notes for you because you guys are. I know you guys are going to be excited.
We got to be able to see it too.
It's going to be two. It's going to be 2 T-38 Talon jets out of Whiteman Air Force Base flying over on Saturday.
Think we can get him low enough to be under the roof so we can see him?
And make sure can you make him hit the afterburner right when he's over the stadium?
So I know you asked me for keys to the game. I was thinking about that the whole time. Keys to the game, play good football.
No, as soon as you said that, I forgot keys to the game, too.
Play good football.
It's emotional. Yeah, it's emotional. Wow, now I'm trying to figure out a way so we can go out and watch the game. Watch the flyover.
I know.
There's got to be.
Right?
I'm really glad I'm a sideline reporter.
We're going to work this out. We'll be back for our picks on Friday, the game Saturday. Thanks. Bye-bye. God bless everybody.
This has been the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Tonight's show has also been brought to you by Country Financial Insurance. Protect what matters. And by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.